Hello and welcome to our live masterclass as we introduce one very, very special lady to you. For those of you who have already met Alison, we know you are so excited. And for those of you who haven't, well, I tell you what, this is going to be a very memorable day. We are bringing you one of our finest wire workers that I think we've ever experienced here at Jewellery Maker.
Thank you.
Your craftsmanship, your quality and your dedication to wire work is astounding, and by popular demand we've got you here today to bring us a masterclass. We've decided to call it Doris Day. For those of you who don't know, our early bird, whenever we do an early bird, it's Doris comes up on the back. That's in honour of my nana. Well, today we have literally a number of Dorises to make. Take a look at this. It is Doris Day today. Just exceptional quality craftsmanship. Here we are showing you the opportunity that you've got. I mean, these are literally flying birds. And where did the idea come from, Alison?
Christmassy, I suppose. The Christmas dove. I did the silver one first, and it was quite. I was looking at a Christmas dove because of the season and coming up.
Yes.
Sorry, I said the C word, but
yes, no, it's all right. Seasonal Christmas. I think we have to accept it's just around the corner, isn't it?
But they'd go for so many things. They'd make a lovely little christening gift, or if you put two nose to nose, you've got a lovely little wedding thing. Now
then, we have to say, Alison is Alison Howe for now, because in 4 weeks' time Alison gets married. So we've got Alison Howe for now, and then obviously in future weeks you're going to be Alison
Tarry. Hi, John.
Hi, John. Now then, for those of you who have instantly gone, oh, we're going to make that today. Yes. By the end of this live masterclass, we will give you the chance to give you step-by-step instruction to create this amazing, I mean, it's a master crafted wire work bird. And I know for a lot of people who go, well, beautiful decoration, but actually not just decoration. No. Because the permutations of this bird are that you could create a brooch as well. We've got this brooch just here, Tom, which is perfect for a nice, you know, for our lapelled duffel coats coming into winter. You want a bit of decoration. It's
a nice bit of colour as well on the darker colours. Or you could hang it as a pendant as well if you wanted a bit more of a statement. Nice twig through him.
And we were saying as well is that if you got something like the antique bronze and then some gorgeous maybe feature red wire and maybe the, you know, the fire opal or something like that. You know,
you've got a robin, haven't you? Beautiful.
Perfect. I mean, it really would be. Let me take one down and let's just have a close-up. You come to me, Doris. Just extraordinary qualities of craftsmanship. Now, before we get started, you have one handy hint. And this is something that is probably the best thing to say. This is the best tip that you so far have found with creating this piece in particular. What is it?
Don't try and make it symmetrical. You'll never get the two halves the same. You won't. And if you try and do it, it'll look almost there, but it will always look not quite. So if you don't aim for symmetrical, no birds are symmetrical, nothing in life is perfectly symmetrical. No. So don't aim for symmetrical and it'll look more natural.
And the thing is that if you hadn't said to me that it's not symmetrical, I'd have gone, wow, that's so symmetrical. It looks it, but yeah, as you say, if you go for just going for that free form, almost capturing Mother Nature, then that's the best tip. You know, really feel that natural forming of the, and I guess in some ways the way that each piece forms makes it a reflection of each singular bird that there is in the skies. You know, no two bird is the same, I presume.
Absolutely.
And so that's what you've got here. So we're going to give you step-by-step instruction. When I say we, Alison Definitely not me on this one. I'm just sitting there admiring your work, Alison. That's for sure. We shall first of all give you the chance to get the gold bundle. Now, the gold, obviously, as you can see here, working breathtaking to give a real luxury. Again, for me, it's festive. Yeah. It's Christmassy. It's got that real sense of joy about it. It's quite luxurious as well. Yeah. You know, working with that gold wire just adds that little extra edge.
Absolutely.
And we are going to give you a deal, as perhaps you've already expected. Our masterclasses are very, very popular based on the amazing techniques that we learn and the projects that we have, but also because of the offers that we give you. And today's been special. Today has been very, very special, and it's going to be even more special when I give you these deals. We're going to go for wire. Now, the wire that you work within this is what?
It's 1.0 and the 0.4. You need the 1.0 for the structure. You might be able to manage with a 0.8, but because you're pushing it out and getting that 3D, you really need the solid structure. And then the 0.4 to wrap it.
So your 1 mil and your 0.4 mil as your only elements of the wire in terms of gauges. Yeah. Right, that's exactly what I've got. We're already over one hurdle there, Alison, because we got the right product. Thank goodness for that. I thought, as I asked the question, I went, oh no, this is where my life just gets really difficult. And all of a sudden, no, we've got it. You've got your 1 mil gauge, and you've also got your 0.4 mil gauge. So this is your structural aspect of the bird, and then we're heading into this lovely binding. And 0.4 is still very strong and sturdy, but actually it's much more malleable. And so you get, especially for some of the technical parts of the design that you're going to show us, it's very, very intricate. So you want that maneuverability, don't you? Yeah,
to be able to go in through the little bits, you want something that's quite flexible. If you did it a 0.6, you could do it. It would be very, very difficult, and it would also make the wrapped bits quite chunky.
Yes.
So they'd stick out more.
And actually,
whereas
that's the perfect
blends.
thing. Yes, that's what I like about this, is there feels like there's a real balance between the detail that you've placed in, but also the practicality of bringing it together. So it's binding, but it's detail as well, which is what I think perhaps is what's so beautiful about your designs in particular. I know for a lot of people, the dragon that you've made is just as incredible because of the structure of it, but then the intricacy of the weave. I think we have got a picture of the dragon that Alison has created. There you go. Look at that weave. I mean, absolutely amazing. And for those of you who have not seen Alison's other work, let me introduce you to the rocking horse. That takes my breath away. That genuinely takes my breath away.
I was so pleased with that. And that kind of just flowed to do.
Really?
It just happened.
Never.
There were a lot of hours in just happening. But
yeah, can I just say, things like that never just happen to me. Like, never ever do these things just happen. You know, I just have none of that. But also, you might have also heard of the teddy bear. Alison's teddy bear is pretty much legendary in the jewellery making world. Not only is it an amazing work of art, it's also workable as well because it's actually hinged. Yeah, so you can have him sat down, he's jointed so that you can stand him up as well.
Yeah, wave his arms.
So what I'm a bit disappointed is this one's not fluttering. Do you know what, Alison? Sorry. You know, you let me.
next time. When we've got a 4-hour masterclass.
That's it. I'll be 90 by then. I'll just be going, what? We have got for you your 100 meters of your 1 mil gauge, and then we're giving you your 0.4 as well. 100 of each. This is 100 of each, and then we're adding in the luxury of your smoky quartz. Now, of course, the smoky quartz working for the decorative detail on the wingspan and also for the eye. And
the tails.
And for the tails. Yeah. So all of this is coming together for Alison's masterclass for the golden bird. It should have been called the golden Doris. And you've got it there for the taking. We're going to do a bit of a deal. Buy the 1 mil gauge, and you're going to get the further 100 meters of 0.4 and the smoky quartz for £10. Yep, for £10. All this 200 meters and smoky quartz together in a bundle for just masterclass exclusive price tag of £37.95. So that's £37.95 for that deal. Congratulations. And I'll leave that there. And I will say these are essential ingredients to create that beautiful golden bird that Alison's going to take us step by step. So how do we begin?
We begin with a picture.
Yes.
Do you want me to hold it up?
That's
or leave
fine.
It right?
This is fine. No, absolutely.
So what I did is I drew. I looked online. I was looking for Christmas decorations, and I had a look online about what sort of decorations there were. What did I fancy making? Right, I'll do a bird, but obviously it's got to be quite a simple outline.
Yes.
It can't be realistic. Certainly not to do in an hour's masterclass anyway.
Yes.
So I had to go at some birds, and I tweaked it and played with it, and I've ended up with this template.
Now, the template is available on, I think what I'm right in saying, is it available on our Facebook site? Brilliant. Okay, as we upload the photographs of the bird onto our Facebook site, we will also upload a photograph of this template. So sometime between 3 and 4 o'clock this afternoon, we will upload photographs of the bird, but also the template as well for you to have. So you will get that, Alison's freeform. So you've come up with this gorgeous, and this is your template, which you're going to then start the structure to build on.
So what we do, and I think Gemma Crow did something like this with a poodle a long time ago. She did a flat poodle, didn't she?
I can't remember what show it was, but yes, rock and roll show I think it was.
So basically you just stick your wire down and bend it, and I'll try not to get my fingers too much in the way, and you're basically following the line round. Now what I found, when you want a curve, use your fingers.
Yes.
When you want a sharp corner, use your wire.
Okay.
So you put your tool in,
because you want that sharpness for the beak,
and you bend it on the beak. Whoops. And the wire's going to go all over the place.
That's okay.
And what you can do then is you can go over and you can really sharpen that up and then push it back out to go in the head.
Okay.
And then just sellotape the next bit in.
So you're
and
keeping
follow
it
it
in
round.
form.
Yeah,
okay.
I won't do the whole thing because...
But you just literally get to have the full silhouette.
And then you just tweak it, and I always come back and I overlap like that.
Can I hold that up? Okay. So you're overlapping here, yeah?
Yeah. And then I just use...
You're overlapping quite a big way, actually. You're overlapping by a good 1.5 inches, isn't it?
I have, but I do trim it.
Right.
So what you'll find when you're adding the scrolls onto it, you find it gives a bit, and you move and you tweak it. So I always overlap by a lot.
Yes.
And then when you've got it fixed, you can trim it back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And the thing is you can add on, you can't, you can take it away, but you can't add
on more
so you
wire.
may as well have more. More is more for now. Okay.
So
we've done both of those.
You've got both of those, and then all you do with this one,
yes, because it's tipped,
is I basically went round a finger and then just wired round the top of it.
Again, just closing it up. And again, that feels quite simple in many ways.
Like that.
Look at that. Okay. So we've now got our silhouette structure of both the bird body and the wing, and that gorgeous tail as well. So we have those two elements. Obviously you've done 2 of those.
Yeah.
And 1 of those?
2 of those and 1 tail.
Fine.
Okay. So the next thing I did is I want to put the eyes in.
Right.
That's quite a simple scroll, so you need a length of wire. I tend to use it off the roll.
Can I show that? Would that be okay, Alison?
Next stage.
Just tell me if it's not, but it's just so everybody can see, because I think that this is, when you start to see it broken down, it just becomes a revelation. You go, wow, this is amazing. The simplicity of the building up of this it's just extraordinary. So you've got this lovely swirling eye and the gemstone sitting right in the centre there. So how did we do that?
I tend to do it off the roll rather than cut a length, because I do it and then I'll see if it's about right. Now the eyes are the only thing I've done that I've tried to get even.
Yes.
Because actually when you look through, you do definitely see that if they're out.
So do you do them at the same time?
So I do them at the same time.
Okay, fine.
So I'll throw one on the floor.
That's okay.
Caught it. No, I didn't.
Where did it go?
Oh no.
It hasn't gone in there, has it? Oh, how weird.
Okay, one's disappeared, but don't worry, we can do another one.
Go on, then you show us how to do it.
Okay, now bearing in mind you want to put a bead in the eye, I've gone down to the base of the pliers. Yes. And formed an eye. Sorry, I'm out of place.
You're brilliant.
Yeah.
I promise
so
you.
I formed an eye, and then start bending it round. I then like to do it by hand. Some people like to use the pliers.
Okay.
And start forming your scroll.
Yeah.
Now this obviously you'd take more time than I've got. Now when you think it's almost about right, measure it up against your blank one. Sorry.
Yep.
So you can tweak this or you can tighten that. So that's going to be too big to fit in there.
So which one would you go for? Which one do you normally do? Do you adapt the circle or do you adapt the head? What's your standard?
It really depends. That was too big, but now it's about the right size.
Yeah, it is,
that
isn't it?
Curve, because it's very difficult to get them the same, I might just pull that curve open a little bit, and now he fits.
Wow, that's so simple. And again, that's just to then parallel in terms of both. You do that twice to get the matching look.
I'd then do another one. I'd then take my eyes.
Yes.
Which I should have got out before.
All right.
Oop.
Don't worry.
Okay, I'm not going to pull those.
No, I'll take that and I'll leave you with some eyes. There you go.
And you take your bit of wire.
Yes. And this is now the 0.4.
This is now the 0.4 wire.
Okay.
You could do it from there, but it starts getting a bit messy. Thread your eye on. Place it in the middle. Now that one's quite small. I think the other beads are a bit bigger.
Yes.
They're more of a 3mm-ish, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. You're right. Yeah.
These are perfect for the tails. And then literally you wrap it round a few times.
And so all you're doing is weaving the wire, the 0.4 in and out of that centre circle.
Yeah, you just wrap it round a few times. And pull it. I usually do 3 or 4 loops round.
Okay.
Pull it tight. I tend to try and make... With the bird, if you're not doing it as a brooch, you can be a bit more liberal with where your ends are. So long as they're on the inside of the bird, they're not going to hurt anybody. If you're having it as a brooch or a pendant, you've got to make sure they're smoothed off.
That's fair.
So if you're doing the 3D bird, you can just then trim off the wire and do the same the other side, just loop it through. And that then gives you, if you can see with that one, you've got a few each side. I don't know whether you can see that.
Yep, we just tip it up and then it's going straight. There you go.
So you've got just a couple, 2 or 3 wraps round will hold that stone in place.
And then, so once you've got that gemstone into place, do you automatically put the eye straight in with the wire up? So you now have that eye in place with the binding. Because
you want this in place before you add any of the scrolls to it at all. Okay. Because otherwise you'd never get it to fit. You'd be trying to squeak things. So that's your starting place.
This is your centerpiece, really, isn't it? That's where you have to get right before you can then build upon the next part of it.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that then?
So let's see.
Move those out for you.
I've taken his eye out rather than hold us up.
Okay.
I tend to cut this down into about 5 centimetres ish length if I'm doing it as a single.
As a single bind?
As a single bind. You'll see later I kind of do 2 or 3. I'll cross over a few scrolls later on.
Okay, that's great.
So I'll place it through.
Yeah.
Bend it over and then again wrap it round. Holding your tail in place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I would do more because it's slightly more structural. That the bead will stay in place, but you could do 3 or 4 wraps, and then I go down between.
Yeah.
So I've actually pulled it between the 2.
Yes.
And pull it tight.
Yes.
And then I'm going to trim off this end because it's getting in the way. And the same with that one. Tuck it in. Make sure all your ends go the same way.
Yeah.
Right, that's not very tidy for me. But then you pull it tight. And this is where your flat ones come in. I normally squidge it together.
Yeah, one of the
things then flatten.
I was about to say is that what I've found with your work is that when you've done a binding, they're incredibly tight and they're incredibly precise. Yeah. And I think perhaps that's that's when the finish is so professional, is when you're obviously bringing those wires in together and you're giving you that almost locking like formation of the threads, the wires as they are.
I mean, that's a bit better. There you go. Okay.
Perfect. Now, while you're we're at this point where we've brought together the eye, and we now have almost the body and the wings ready to be added with your scrolls, you're calling them, which is all of the decorative detail. Just before you do that, I'm just going to give you a second deal, if that's okay, because looks like that one may well be a sellout within the masterclass. The next deal, we're repeating exactly the same gauge, because of course the one thing that hasn't changed is the gauging of the wire, but we've just changed the colour. We're going for your royal blues this time, almost a navy blue actually. Your 1mm gauge, 100 metres, your 0.4mm gauge, 100 metres. We're adding in this glorious frosted shell pearl, really gorgeous shell that adds such a finished, real finesse to your jewellery and to your design of the bird. And again, we're going to repeat the offer. We have got for you 100 metres of 1mm gauge. Your price tag on that single 100 metres is actually £27.95. What we're about to do is give you a further 0.4mm gauge, and that is your 100 metres, plus the shell for £10 again. We're repeating that deal, yes, all yours for £37.95. That's £37.95 for both the 100 metre gauge of the 1mm, which is of course the structure that we've just seen Alison working with, and then of course the binding 0.4mm, again another 100 metres. Alison, what kind of quantity of wire do you use for each one of the birds? Is it a give
I
or
knew you were
take?
going to ask that.
Yeah, no, I just suddenly thought, I wonder how many birds you could make out of this kind of...
You'd get a lot of Dorises from your rolls.
I tell you what,
get a lot.
One Doris was enough in my lifetime, I tell you. But that's what I expected you to say, because actually it's the detail rather than the amount that you're using that becomes impressive. So we're at the point...
Sorry, I was just going to say, you definitely use less than 10 metres. I know that for a fact. You'd use less, but I don't ask me exactly how much. So you'd get at least 10.
At least 10, if
birds
not
out
more.
Of
That's what I like to hear. We have got to the point now where we have the eye, and we now have the body. So we're, let me just hold those up so you can see to where we are on our masterclass. So here we have it. And then we also have the wing, the tail as well. So we're at the point where we're now ready to bring in the scrolls.
We are.
When you say a scroll, you're meaning a spiral that is two spirals opposite. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So that's what I class as a scroll.
Perfect. And to make that,
right. Again, I would say you're not doing it symmetrically.
Yeah.
You want to randomise the sizes. You want big ones, you want small ones. You don't really want teeny ones. And so I've got a selection of sizes there. Okay. But you can also tweak them. So as you're putting them in, you might find I need one a little bit bigger, so you can just open up that and make it a slightly bigger scroll, or you can tighten it down.
That makes sense. So you can either have it like this, but you're saying you can also, if you need it bigger, if you need it smaller, you can actually manipulate them to the size that you made. Because obviously one presumes this is a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle now, that you're going to build up this body with all the scrolls, and because you haven't got a formulaic, this needs to go there, this needs to go here, you're just building up and then hopefully manipulating the wire to make it smaller or larger to accommodate. Yeah,
definitely.
Perfect.
So what I do is I take a length of wire. Again, you can start from the roll. This is just the bit we had earlier.
Okay.
I tend to do, quite a small loop. And then again, I pull the wire around to start your call. Now that one's gone a bit egg-shaped. Yeah. So you just push it back into shape. Okay. So if it's gone a bit egg-shaped, you can either push like that or put your wire through the hole and pull it back towards the strong bit. Okay. And then again, I use my fingers to turn it round. Now, because the wire comes off the coil, it has a natural curve. So one side is really easy. The other side, you're going against the curve. So I tend to then take it and using my fingers, bend it round the other way.
Okay.
Guess roughly where you want it to be, snip off the end, and then you're just doing the other side.
And no scroll will be the same.
No.
But that's okay.
Yeah, because you're not trying to make them look the same.
No.
Then it doesn't matter. Like, that's gone completely different. And like I say, you can have big ones, little ones. You can have lopsided ones. Oh. You'll find as you're doing it, you'll get to a point, and I did start laying them out when I began. So I'd kind of put them in place and think, right, well, I want one there, and I'll need maybe one there and one going across the base.
Yes.
But they won't fit because you've got to 3D it. So you have to, you kind of lace them out, and then you'd want one in the middle there and a little bit up here.
Yes.
You know, maybe another one there, and then you're full. But that's flat. So now you've got to start putting them in so that you can get the 3D effect.
Go for it. You show me.
I'm going to use the turquoise only because it's easier to see where I've wrapped.
Yeah, okay.
But you can. The blue one is two-tone. It's the turquoise and the blue I've used on that one.
Yeah.
You can play with colours on them. You can do your collared dove, have a little bit of a difference round the neck. You could have different coloured feathers. You could really go to town on colours. You
could have like a bird of paradise, kind of, rainbow colours, couldn't you?
You could have every completely random with some of the rainbow hematite. Would look fantastic.
Oh, Alison. Oh, I like the idea of that one.
Right, now I'm cutting a much longer piece now because I know I'm going to wrap in a few places.
So this is the active. This is going to be your active.
Yeah.
So we're looking at probably about 3 to 4 inches.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't really matter because if you run out, you just cut another piece. I'm going to start by the eye because the join's at the tail, so if I need to enlarge it a bit, I can pull it there. Now, because I'm going to go over 2 places, I feed it through. Am I?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, lovely.
I usually pull it tight there and then pull it tight in another place. So I'm going to turn it round and feed it round. You find you start going round and round in circles. Don't worry about it, it's natural.
But in life, because that's what I do in life.
And again, then you'd go through 3 or 4 times. Now, depending on where your wire ends up, depends on whether you finish it. It looks nice with the gold, this turquoise. So if I do that 4 times.
And will you feel when it's?
Yeah, 3's not. 3's okay. Sometimes you do 5 or 6, don't count, but you want more than 2. Yes. I'd say more than 2 or 3 because otherwise it's a bit flimsy.
Okay, it is.
So, right now, this bottom one doesn't have anywhere for the wire to go. See this? Can you pick up the little bit of wire trailing between?
Oh, we can. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can just see that.
Yeah.
Now that one's all right because you can just tweak it out the way when you've finished.
Okay.
But from there to there, which would be the next place,
you wouldn't be happy.
Would be basically you'd have it across the middle of the scroll.
Yeah, not nice.
And you wouldn't see it. So we'll finish that piece there. You do find your waste bits of wire, but I have a bit box.
A bit box.
I have a bit box at home. So all these bits of wire, see that's a different colour. It's because I pulled it out my bit box and used it to do all the rough wrapping. So
no wastage.
Clamp it down.
We jewellery makers don't like wasting.
No. Tweeze it together again and then clamp it in place. And then you've got quite a tidy coil. Don't worry about those because you can tidy them up when it's properly fixed.
Okay.
And then just...
Yeah, because you've got plenty of more tweaking to do.
Yeah.
Or tweeting. Tweet.
Indeed. Tweet.
Sorry, that was really poor.
Right, I'm going to leave that hanging out the way there. Just move it out the way.
Okay.
Now what I'm doing is I'm bending this. I'm
Yeah.
Putting an angle, can you?
Yeah, now
can you get that?
See that, yep. So you're starting to 3D it already, aren't you?
So you're pushing it out, because the next I want to do, let's put that one, you also want to try and tie them up. So I'm going to put that one there, and again, I'm going to want to bend it.
Yeah.
So you have to fiddle with these a bit so that they meet and join.
Yeah.
So if I now take another piece of wire.
And again, you're going with it about the 3 inches, 4 inches, something
yeah,
like that.
Something like that. If you think, only because if you had to do each one and finish it through, it takes a lot longer. If you can do 2, sometimes 3, then you're fine.
Yeah, that is.
So we're going to take that one, and this one we're actually going to do 2 on this one, but we might finish off up here. So I'm going to take the short side down there, and don't worry if you're going over the wrapping for the base. So I've got 4 or 5 turns there. Okay, now you see how this one's automatically coming here. Yeah,
it's kind of telling you where to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, look, it is just, oh.
And it starts building up.
Really quickly.
Yeah. So basically...
How many scrolls do you reckon you've put on for each body? 1, depending on the size, I guess, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on this one, but they're quite low. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
yeah, it's about 4, and then there's about 3 in the wings. I think it's about 7 on each side.
It looks like there's going to be like maybe 10 or 11 scrolls. I was thinking, gosh, it would take for ages. But when you see how quickly it builds up, it's really impressive, isn't it?
So you keep going with that.
Yes. Until
you get that.
Here's one I made earlier. But now if I just profile that, can you see what you've made?
The bulge.
That's the bulge, exactly.
Yeah. The bird's eaten a lot of dinner. Yeah, same thing.
Sunday lunch, Sunday
Absolutely.
lunch.
Lots of worms in there.
Lovely. And it's incredibly structural.
It is quite firm.
Sturdy. I don't think when I first saw these, I didn't realise they were going to be quite so strong. Yeah. But actually, if you start to think that now, you actually could be making this into a brooch with just one. You need that structure, don't you?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, it will hold. I have dropped them, and they don't dint. If you stand on them, I'm quite sure they'll dint.
Yes.
But you've got a certain amount of rigidity there. You don't have to carry it like glass and think, oh gosh, no, please don't hold it by there. You can hold it wherever, and it's fairly.
I feel
really
firm. Quite like I don't feel like I need to be fragile with this at all.
No.
I don't need to be. It feels like it's really. As she drops it, it has that strength. So we're at this point.
Right now, I know I said I don't do symmetry with it. I do symmetry a lot, but I don't do symmetry with it. But the one thing you've got to do is make sure the 2 sides will match from nose to tail, because you've got to stitch along the bottom, but that'll come later. So I do offer them up. I'll be
nice
posh term. Offer them up to each other, just to make sure that they're about the same size, because you can still
manipulate,
stretch and bend that bit, and also you can push it out if you want it more curved.
And obviously, please forgive the simplicity of my brain, but if I'm putting them side by side and I'm making the 3D, am I therefore I'm wire wrapping and bulbusing the other opposite, aren't I?
Yes.
I just wanted to check.
Sorry, yes.
I didn't want to ask the question. I thought that's a silly, but actually, when I'm doing the second side, I want to do it in the reverse. So I want to have the bulbous aspect of the detail coming out the opposite way, don't I?
Definitely.
Okay, I'm sorry if that was a silly question, but I just wanted to get it right in my mind.
No, it wasn't, because when I was making all the pieces, I did do 2 the same way and thought, oh right, okay, that's one I prepared earlier for that bit then. Go and make another one. It is easy to do. So yeah, if you start making the second one, remember to do that.
Keep on making sure
and then you go, oh yes, I've got to push it that way.
Yes, exactly.
It's a very good point.
Brilliant, good.
Okay, so then we get to the stage where we've got the wings to do.
Yes, please. Now then, let's just hold up the wings so you can see
tail.
That detail. All I can say is every time we look at this, somebody in my goes, it's just so amazing. Oh, it's just so cool. Oh, it's brilliant. We are in awe. We really are in awe of this kind of. And when you start to break it down, that's what I find fascinating about jewellery making. I do it all the time. Is I go, gosh, it's so simple when you break it down, but actually, I would never have come up with this in the first place. Now, just to highlight, you've done the body, but you've also done the tail. Yeah. And let me just hold up the tail so that we can see exactly the same principles, the same binding. This time we've got one coming across and you've left the gap to do the detail. And
I've also pushed the tail out so it's got a nice curve on it.
Oh yes, and you've got that, again, that almost in flight motion. Rather than it having a flat. Yes, and if I just hold it there, so you've got 2 scrolls to make the body, and then the third to come across. So that's 3 scrolls in total to give that detail. And again, same binding and really structural. I'm fascinated by how strong it becomes.
The other thing I did with the top, if you notice where we crossed over at the top, I've taken the sides down both sides. So rather than stopping right at the top, you can see there's two. It doesn't matter if there's 2 because it just looks part of the design.
Yeah, it does.
So there's 2 bits at the top.
Yes.
Well, they're the 2 ends, and the ends finish under this binding.
Yes.
The binding here is where I've snipped it off at the end.
I'm with you.
And the same with the tail. I didn't show you that bit. So I'd snip it off either side of a binding. Now I've played with this one, so it's pulled through a bit, and you'd finish it on a binding.
And I presume that you don't do either of that until you've got them both set up, you know, and you know that they're ready to in matching size.
Yeah. Once your 2 sides match, then you can do that.
Then you're ready to do the finished binding. Okay, good.
Right.
We're doing to the feathery area now, the decorative feathery bit.
What did we do with the beads that I threw everywhere?
And just to remind you, this bundle is available if you do want to create navy blue with the gorgeous cream pearl. We do have this available for £37.95. 100 metres of the 1mm gauge. By the 100 metres, you get a further 100 metres of the 0.4, plus also the gems for £10 only. For £10 only. So buy the 1mm and you will get a further 100 metres for £10 plus an extra strand. And of course, just to highlight, we also did the gold for exactly the same price tag. The gold was the 1mm gauge and the 1.4mm, and the 0.4mm you got for £10 with the smoky quartz. So those both deals are available within this exclusive masterclass offer.
Right, I've cut a lot longer piece.
Yeah, that is about a metre, eh?
Yeah. And I'll try and do it in one. If you run out, you can join another piece in. It's not the end of the world. And it does get, if you prefer to work with a shorter piece, then I'd work with a shorter piece.
Does it just get a bit fiddly, does it?
So I'd start at the tail, the tip.
Yes, we knew what you meant.
Do 2 or 3 wraps. And again, I would not cut off the tail bit. I'd not cut off that until you're well into it, because you need it to anchor.
Yes.
Now you want to go to the other end and feed on probably about 5 beads for that. 4 or 5 beads.
So you're putting the beads on now?
Yeah. I tend, yeah. You could literally just wire wrap this bit. You don't have to put beads on if you don't want to, or you could do it all completely beads. I've kind of mixed it in because I quite like the featheriness of the wire, but the sparkliness of the beads.
Especially for like if you're going to do Christmas detail.
Yeah.
That little sparkle, and as you said beautifully earlier on, they're like the wings of a dove.
Yeah.
You know that almost a little bit of an there's something quite ethereal or mystical about a beautiful white dove, isn't there? I think that would probably match alongside many of the designs. Right.
So you put on enough beads to sit comfortably. You might find you've got a bit of a gap. Don't worry, you're never going to notice. And then you're just threading through the wire. When it's long. Sorry if I catch you.
You did, no, you're doing great.
John's quite used to me going along flicking wire at him. Whoops. You might find it kinks a bit.
That's okay.
If it kinks, just turn it back and then smooth it out and your kink's gone. Don't try, and if it's kinked, don't try and pull it. Try and reverse the way it's gone. because you get rid of the kink. But don't, all it means is if your kink's there, it might weaken it a bit, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
And then we'll start going up and down. I'm going to cut this off for ease. While we're, because you don't want me to be for hours doing it. Okay, then I would wrap, go through once, go all the way round, and then you're going to come, whoops. See, I've got another kink there. You're going to come back down, so just push it back over the way and straighten it. You do find you end up with kinks.
And all you're doing is working it up and down, wrapping it round, and working up and down again. And
what you find in where you've got your bits of coils, you've got some nice gaps. You can, rather than try and feed it through, you can just push it through, which makes it quicker and easier. But I never just go to and fro. I'll always go and wrap it round to anchor it.
Okay, so you always go up, bind, which is wrap round twice.
Go round and then round again.
Okay, brilliant.
Only because it just gives it a little bit more structure for this. I don't do it for every wire thing. So you can do that for as many times as you like. You can have, like I say, you can have a lot of wrappings and not many beads, or you can have a lot of beads and not many wrappings.
And the thing is that I guess it depends on what size gemstones you choose to work with. It depends on what wire detail you want to add. I mean, really, there is no right or wrong in this, is there?
No. And if it will totally change the feel of the bird. So if you do a heavily gemmed one, especially with a faceted gem, like those tiny faceted clear quartz are fantastic. Or these, I mean, again, I wouldn't have thought necessarily to put black with it because the smoky quartz goes so well, but these are going super. And then you put your next lot in and you do the same, and you just carry that on all the way along. And if your wire breaks or you run out of wire, just go round 2 or 3 times, and then starting at the other end, go around 2 or 3 times, and you're off again doing the same thing.
And that instantly builds up quite quickly, doesn't it? Again, when I looked at the detail, I was thinking, gosh, that's going to take such a long time. But when you start to see how quickly it builds up, so impressive. Now then, just to give you the chance to get both the decoration for the wings, while Alison obviously just continues, while we've got obviously the decoration for the wings, we also need the feature for the eyes. And so we have put here you go. You have got here both for eyes and for the detail of the body as well. How about this quality? Ah, they are gorgeous. Oh, wow, I love those. How elegant. We have got two strands, 2 very impressive strands at that. You've got a combination of your faceted black onyx in your 4mm, and you've also got your faceted hematite rondelles, and those are 4x2mm. Both strands are significant in length, 30 centimeters and 36 centimeters respectively. Glistening, shimmering, shining, you name it, you've got it all dazzling away there in this double strand offer. And it is going to be a big offer. You know how I said at the beginning, not only are we here to get some great technique, but you also want to get a bit of a masterclass exclusive deal. Well, the price tag that you should be paying on these 2 strands is nowhere near the price you're actually going to pay, because it is going to be a masterclass exclusive price tag. These 2 feature strands, and they are dazzling away. Tell you what, if you did get those gorgeous little beads that I did earlier on this morning, if you got those alongside,
you could have a multi-toned wing. Absolutely stunning.
Could you imagine
if you started at one colour and trailed through for the whole wing, that would look amazing. Would be amazing.
That's your next level. That's next level. Well, if you want the 2 strands, I'm going to give you an exclusive masterclass deal. How about both of them for just £6.95? Both of them for £6.95. Not one, but 2 feature strands for less than £7. Congratulations if you do get that. It's an amazing deal. Such luxury items. You really have got, it's very tactile as well. You've got such shimmery stones, isn't it?
That hematite sparkling, that would be fantastic. The wings would just, especially if you did them quite loose, because like I said, sometimes if you don't do them tight, those would, you'd actually get the movement.
That movement because of the...
And those would be like, wow.
Yes, please. Lovely. So we're now at the point where we've built up the wings. We've given it a decorative detail. We've done, you have done here on both sides. Repeat on the tail as well. You do the tail just exactly the same way. You start off in the tail. And I've always started off purely because that's the way I've done it. I've started off with a line of beads and then I've wire wrapped. It's just the way I've done it. There's nothing to stop you wire wrapping first. Yes, you could do it either way.
Yeah, so I just find it easier with the curve. Line of beads, a few wire wrap, beads, wire wrap. I have tried to be a little bit more symmetrical on the tail, but not been too over the top with it, so that I've got 3 on each side, 3 lines. They don't have to be in the same place. Okay. But that's just my balance problem.
You just like things that I do too.
Yeah, I like it to balance.
So now it's time to put it all together, I presume.
Oh yeah. Now you come to the fiddly bit. This takes a while to get it. It's quite tricky. Okay. And this is where your bit box of spare wire comes in.
Right. Do you need to have lots of bits ready and handy? Because once you're starting to build the structure, do you kind of feel like you need, okay, I need to build that one, I need to start building it up?
I tend to sort of loosely wire it together and then go back and do it properly, if that makes sense.
No,
so hold it, because if you're trying to hold it in place with your hands and get a neat finish, you can't do it because you've got 3 bits and you're trying to hold that there, and then you're trying to hold that there, and then you need 2 hands to wire wrap, and it doesn't work.
And I was going to suggest the handy Andy, but I don't know whether...
I don't know whether you'd be able to hold it. What I tend to do is I attach the tail to a side. Now, on the birds we've got, I've put it in different places. Right. And you can lengthen or shorten this when you're making your tail. Your curve needs to be somewhere around about there, but it can be there. Okay. I tend to put it over the point because your point will bend in and tie underneath. But it doesn't matter if it's a bit further out, it just gives you a slightly different looking bird. Fine. So
because obviously every time you do it's going to be just a little bit different, isn't it?
Indeed. So with your wire, I'd literally, and it's going to look a right mess, don't worry about it, go around a couple of times so that it's actually held in place.
Often is the case with wire work, it does go messy before it starts to make an impact, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But you can already see now he's looking a bit better.
Instantly.
Yeah. And again, go through 2 or 3 times. When your hands aren't shaking, it does go a lot easier.
I'll have to say, Alison, you've had a number of people complimenting you on your technique and how beautifully you're instructing. So I know you're nervous, but if it helps, you've done a phenomenal job.
Fabulous.
Some beautiful responses congratulating you, not just on your designs, but also on your instruction as well. So you're doing a brilliant job.
Well, I expect to see lots of these on the Wall of Fame, you know.
Yes, so do I.
I want to see...
Tomorrow.
Yes. I want to see a nice 4-bird mobile. You know, and I want to see the 2 little doves kissing for, you know, a wedding present for perhaps someone who's getting married in about 4 weeks.
Time, that's it.
Right, so then I put the other one on top, and again, you can see it's not rigid, it's still squidgy, but you've got to play to get the nose right. So if you stick things down solidly, you haven't got that flexibility to move it. So again, let's stick them together.
And it's
I don't know why this is a he. This is a partner for
funny,
Doris.
Doris.
Maybe this is Boris.
Oh no, Howard.
Howard. Was that your granddad? Oh, Doris and Howard.
Don't you make me cry.
Okay. Not okay, I'll make you cry.
Happy memories.
Good. Right. So we've got him tied there. Now we're going to go down
exactly the same binding, exactly the same principle, but one presumes that because this is just the loose bringing together to get the structure, you're just doing a couple of threads just so that there's that loose form before you then then go back and give it the strength.
If you did it really tight and finished it off, you'd struggle to undo it without damaging the wire. And of course with the coloured wires you want to be that little bit careful.
Yes, of course.
Because you don't want to take the colour off. So if you just go through a few times, you get bits of wire everywhere, and then I usually start stitching the bottom.
So you've actually, can I just hold that? Would that be all right? Just so I can show you. Alison's taken from literally from the top to two sides, and she's bound in the top of the body, and then exactly the same again to the back of the tail as well. So 4 places where Alison's found that it's the best way to get the first elements of the structure is the front 2 and the back 2 here. But then you're saying when you start to go for the actual binding, you're going to the base, because that holds it in place. Yeah. So you've got to have that. The very first time I did it, I stitched the bottom first, and then I had the devil's own job trying to open that up and put that in. So that's in. And so I'd now start doing it properly. I'm still going to do the turquoise because you can see. Yeah. Now you want to make sure your ends fit. So I'd start off with the tail, and again it's the same technique, but this time you're going to be a bit neater. And tension, more tension? Yeah, you want to keep a nice tension and pull them tight, because that's what gives you the neatness. I tend to sort of tuck one end out the way and hold it, and then you can pull quite hard on that. Don't worry if the first time you do it, it moves around a little bit. You'll find they can do that, but you can push them back, and you can use your pliers to straighten them up so they're flat. So again, the same as before, I tend to do, as you can see there, I've done more on the base where I want the real structure. So I'd do maybe 6, 7, maybe more wraps. I'm catching something there. Oh, that's it. Catching the end, that's all. And again, if you're doing it 3D, you can afford to trim it. I would always pull it tight. Yeah, you've given some serious tension there, though. I'm watching you're giving a really nice pull on it. It's not loose. This is you want that strength now, don't you? Yeah, because you want it to be able to flatten. If it's not pulled tight, when you press this on it, well, they've got pliers. That's the one. That's the one. When you press this on it, they all go higgledy-piggledy, and they're all different lengths. Now, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the look you're aiming for. John will tell you I'm a bit OCD about things like that. They have to be neat. So if they come apart a bit, just squidge. Yeah. And then press again. Can I drop that to the camera so that everybody can see? Oh, the tail's in the way, isn't it? Yes, that's it. Sorry. No, it was great. Not at all. Please don't apologise. In fact, Susan from Nottingham's just been on the telephone to the call centre, and they've just rang up to the gallery and said she wants to compliment Caroline. Oh. Sorry, it wasn't Susan, was it? It was Caroline in Nottingham, complimenting you on your technique and your demonstration.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Really great, step by step understanding, really. And we've got another text message in as well. Andrea saying, just wanted to say how very talented the lovely Alison is. What an amazing lady. Awesome. Thank you very much. So that's just the beginning. Yeah. Could you give me some ideas of how many times, in fact, let's have a look at the base on this. What do you think? I do probably about 4. So I do 1 at the end. Yeah, the tip. 1 at each end, and if you notice there, I've gone quite big on the tip. So I've wrapped quite a bit along. Just here, guys. And gone round it. So you can do because it just emphasises the beak anyway. Yes, well, I was just about to say, I almost thought that you'd done that on purpose to give you that. Why did I question that? Why did I question that? Of course you did. So you almost give that extra dynamic to the beak by giving it the extra binding. Right. Yeah. And so did you do that to the base and to the top? Because well, the top I bound afterwards. This bit here, do you mean? Yes. That I did afterwards. Okay. That's not holding it together, that's just infill. Fine, so we'll do that shortly. So the base of it to the holding and the binding, we have got here, and you've done 1 at the base, which is quite long. Then you've done 4 further down. So you started at the base, 1 here, 1 here, and then you've done 2 further. And then, I presume,
then you do.
Tell me where you go.
Right. Then I usually start. That's a good point. I'd probably start at the back. I think I've done it from the front or the back. I don't think it really matters which way. But basically you want to put these 4.
So, again, it will show you in the turquoise just because it's then more visual. You can see the difference. So we've done the full base.
Yeah.
Now, where you had the looser bindings...
You take 1 off.
Yes.
And you do it properly with the proper colour.
But with tension.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'd remove 1.
1 at a time.
Remove
No.
1 at a time. Remove 1. Bind it with the tension and the strength so that you've got that security. Yeah. Finish it off and remove 1. Repeat. Remove 1. Repeat. And you do that 4 times.
Yeah.
Do you add any others?
I do.
Go on then.
Right. The really, really, really fiddly one.
Yes.
Is here. I try and do 1 halfway down.
Halfway down?
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Whereabouts?
Right. It's this bit round.
Oh, you mean under the wing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically I'll take a couple of the coils and I'll try and bind it so that it just holds it that little bit firmer. You possibly don't need it. It's belt and braces.
Yeah.
But you can also use that then to come up and make your
perfect. So
your loop.
We have this middle piece here, and you've done the binding to the body, and then that thread you've then brought forward and brought into the middle,
twisted together,
twisted it to then make it into the hanging. That makes sense as well. It's all making sense.
If you run out of wire, you can always add a hanger in, but it's there, so it saves you finishing it. My granddad used to call it lazy man's loads. You know, carry loads. So if you can make use of something while you've done it, save doing a job twice, I'll use it.
Now finally, obviously we just need to quickly capture because we've literally got to about 2 minutes.
Okay.
The 2 things that I want to, you said that you did a little bit of decoration.
Yeah.
Is this the only location where you give that attention and you do a little bit further more of the lattice weave, is it that you do?
It's just a basic weave, round once and then across, round once and then across. You can do it more or less. You could take it all the way up if you wanted.
Yeah.
And then what I've done is I've just put my pliers in flat. Let me show you.
Yes.
So I've literally just gone in and pushed it out
to give it
a little bit of curve
again.
Yeah.
So rather it be flat.
Yeah.
Can you do it again just one more time because we didn't get that on camera?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I literally just went in and pushed it up. You can use either your chain nose or your round ones, but don't use it from the inside. Hold them together and then just push it a bit. And as you can see, I mean, even then, that's quite a lot of tension on that. They're quite sturdy.
And finally, I have a question. And the question is, out of this piece, obviously we've done the 3D, but I just want to highlight, in terms of where we get to from what we did in the 3D, this is literally the structure. This is then adding the scrolls, giving the detail to the wings, and then you added just a single a piece of wire to make the brooch itself.
Can I take them off?
Yes, of course.
Right, all I've done, like you say, you've got the basic bird.
Yes.
And then I thought, you could do it without the tail and it looks quite pretty.
Yes,
and I thought, I'll add a tail in. So I've literally made a Debbie Bulford brooch fastening, brooch pin, but instead of having a loop at the other end, I just made a little heart shape.
Clever.
And then I've stitched that onto the tail bit.
Very clever.
So that one half of it moves, but the other bit's rigid.
I'll show you that again so that you can see it. So you can see there's the detail, and that's actually part of the brooch pin, which then becomes perfectly strong because it's been bound in just here. What a clever idea. It could be a pendant as well, couldn't it?
It could be a pendant.
Talisman size pendant, you know. Beautiful.
If you wanted to run that on, you could run it coming through the beak and actually have a little leaf on the end. Like
the olive branch.
Piece. Yeah,
oh,
piece stuff.
How lovely. Well, I know that you'll have agreed with me. This has been a fantastic masterclass. We want more. You know we want more. Alison, I do have a question from one person saying, are you comfortable with people repeating your designs? Yeah. Because obviously this is a very specific piece that you have created. Are you happy for people to take your essentially your design and and use it for themselves?
I've done this for the masterclass, which is why we'll put the picture up so people can have a go.
The answer is yes. So for those people who said, please can we try it? Are we allowed to sell them? Are we allowed to go? You make it. And Alison said, absolutely, give it a go. And we can't wait for the Wall of Fame in the next coming weeks. I know Alison will be watching, and certainly I will be, to enjoy your own creativity from this amazing masterclass. Congratulations. I'm on very last of stock on that bundle. If you want it, it's yours for the taking for $6.95. Thanks very much for your company. I'll see you at 5 o'clock this evening for what is going to be an amazing late show. Alison, you have been a star.
So
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.